Welcome to Deep Thought. Think hard on your own deeper aspects. Now, in a previous podcast, I pointed out that there are always deeper aspects to everything. There's always something below the surface. But, to kind of go in on a point I've talked about before, I've talked about people out here wearing masks. And I've talked before about everyone, 99.9% of the population, at least, and I'm saying at least, has a counterfeit persona. And just to explain a counterfeit persona real quick again for those who might not be familiar with it, when we're born, we have a personality. We come into the world with a certain personality. Any parent that's paid attention to their children from young had a personality. And I learned this with my own two sons. Their personalities and stuff. Like my oldest son, we saw his personality in the womb. When he was in the stomach, that dude be kicking and jumping all around, bouncing around, everything, right? The youngest, he was chilled in the womb. We had to poke him a couple times. Say, "You still there?" He was chill. Oh, and it was a funny thing because when it was close to him being born, he was actually in a breech position. His feet was pointed forward. We say, "Hey, can you turn around?" He actually turned around right there. So they already got it. But then when kids come, they born into the world, you get different things that happen to them, different traumas. It could be the mother might not be as welcoming. So that creates a certain personality, certain counterfeit persona. And you get another mother who basically didn't nurture the child enough, didn't feed it enough or give it enough attention. And then, you get, as they grow older, other stuff happen. You get an issue of where the parents are in conflict and, the child feel like he got to control a situation. And then other times where a parent tries to control their child too much, even to the point of their own bowel movements. And then, a final counterfeit persona happens when a child feels a betrayal or something by the parent or opposite sex parent especially, right? So all of these are traumas that create something, so they put something over it. And then, we get out into, depending on the culture, we have to still navigate that culture, both the major culture and subcultures, right? So essentially what happens is people walking around with these masks, they walking around with stuff over. But the stuff what they had coming into the world is still there. So people have to think about it. What is your true self? Look under your own hood. That's the key. Look under your own hood. Yes, you want to pay attention. Yes, you want to eventually develop the ability to see through other people's masks, see past the hood, be like the mechanic who can look at the car or listen to the car and know what's going on. Like, for example, with that mechanic thing. I remember I had a shade tree mechanic one time. Somebody recommended it. This was when, needed the car fixed, didn't have as much money to take it to a regular place because you know how they do. They charge like $100 for labor just to do something that otherwise, if you knew how to do it yourself, would have cost you just the price of the part, which was like $5. So anyway, I had a shade tree mechanic, and he understood the inside of a car so much, he didn't need a computer or anything. And all I needed was just a tune-up. And all he did was just run the engine and say, "Oh yeah, you just need a tune-up." And then he actually drove with me to the store, the auto store, and he actually said, "Oh yeah, you need your tires balanced too." So just like somebody can do that on the outside, people need to think and really think, what's your deepest aspect? And this is how you do it. Ask yourself, look at every aspect of your personality, everything you do. Why do you do it? And it can be deep. It's not the easiest thing. Trust me, it's not the easiest thing, because many people, well, everybody, if you look at the counterfeit personas, they start from like birth to about roughly the age of 12, maybe even to later teenage years, but they all happen before you become an adult. So you have to think back, why you do this? Why is your reaction to this? Now think about what you really want to do. Think about why you do something, because a lot of times when people do something, they engage in a habit, they do something, it was in response to something. For example, I've talked about the male imprint, the female imprint, right? Now, this is especially a case with the male imprint. You see, a male is imprinted by how the alpha females, the pretty women, the divas treated him. Now, if they were generally mean to him, that imprints him in a negative way. So when he sees them, he sees like a woman's going to treat him mean. Now, if they were nice to him, he sees a woman's going to treat him nice. But let's look at the negative aspect of it. Now, somebody grow older and stuff, they in their 40s or something, they feel like, these beautiful women are bad and all of that. Even though there might be some very beautiful women actually genuinely interested in them. So he had to sit back. So why do I feel this about beautiful women? Why do I feel this way about this group of people? What did they do? So you got to get back to it. And then you might be like, oh, because of that, let me deal with that. Or other stuff, It could be something simple. Like I remember when I was working in the criminal justice system, I heard about this young girl who got caught up. I mean, it was bad, but what had happened, she had been falsely accused of doing something, and it just created something. But on a deeper level, she was basically a good person. And people got to look at that, look in the mirror, say, what are you really? Is this really you, or was this your reaction to something that happened? Because we forget. That's the thing. We'll do something and we'll forget why we doing it. I've done that in my life. I would be engaged in some behavior, doing something, then, I'll stop and be like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then I'll remember, it's like, oh, because of that situation, or why do I feel this way? And like I said, I've said 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more. I'm not a guru. Like there was something recent I might have alluded to. I still haven't said exactly what it is, but I was like, well, why do I feel this way? And why did I do a reaction this way? And there was a whole set of events created all because of something someone had said. Or let me use an example close to that. Once again, the imprint thing. Like I've met women who they had some guy. I've met plenty of women. They'll have some guy call them ugly when they were like 12, 13. And I'm like looking at them like, girl, you're fine. But they never forgot about it. And so as a result, they behave like an ugly woman. They few of the ones I've seen do that, they made it real easy because they didn't think men really found them beautiful or were putting them on pedestals or anything. But that's because they focus on it. You got to focus on the traumas. You got to look at everything. You got to deal with your false beliefs. And you got to think hard on it. It's hard. It's not easy. Trust me, because some stuff becomes such a part of you that you don't know why. Like, I remember this kid, right? I give this last story about this kid. Now, when I met the kid, this kid was a knucklehead. This kid was a knucklehead. It's just straight knucklehead. You didn't think anything about him. Think he had dropped out of high school, right? But found out beforehand, this kid was like a genius kid. This kid was a genius. So, kind of took him under my wing, found out what was up. The deep thing was that he just didn't feel loved. He didn't feel loved. See, when he was getting all those A's and everything, he wasn't getting the love behind it. So he was just like, well, fuck it. So, I was able to talk to him, kind of set him straight. all of a sudden, and when he dealt with it, I said, look, man, people you thought were going to love you had their own issues too. But as I was able to set him straight, I noticed his life did a 360. And this dude kicking ass somewhere. This dude kicking ass somewhere now. Like I said, I ain't going to give too much about him. He in his 30s now, the dude kicking ass. So, anyway, always think hard on your deeper aspects. I'm going to get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.